Hi, I'm Kurt. Welcome back to Boards 3D. Today we're making a piano hanger. So when my girlfriend's family moved to their new home, they ended up having an extra shelf in my girlfriend's room and they did not know what to do with it. My girlfriend didn't want to hang up an extra shelf, and instead I had the idea of making this piano hanger. You can make it as simple or as elaborate as you want. Designs are really up to your imagination. It's a pretty straightforward build. I decided to embellish mine with resin and with a very bad abstract design which I came up with, and yeah, let's see how I made it. I started by cutting the shelf down into a manageable piece, and then I marked the entire length that I wanted the piano hanger to be. I cut the fingers of the piano hanger to the sizes that I wanted on the table saw. I measured a piece of threaded steel rod, which is all I had on hand in the shop, and this was going to be the hinging point. I marked the spot where I wanted the threaded rod to go through, and this was important to have it consistent in all the fingers, and then I went to the drill press to drill it through. Okay, let's go. I made sure that I drilled the end pieces halfway through so that the threaded rod doesn't come loose and go out through the other side. Taking off the surface finish of the wood was going to take too long with the delta sander, so I decided to do it later. I used a table saw to trim the piano hanger so that all the fingers were the same length, and I also took care of the rounded edge. Using the belt sander, I took off the surface finish of the wood, leaving me with a clean surface to finish later. I sketched a rough abstract design on the wood so that I could carve it out, and then I proceeded to ink it with a felt pen. Using the Japanese razor saw, I cut out the area which would serve as a hinging point in order to have the fingers move comfortably. Naturally, this left a bit of an irregular shape, so I had to go to the sander to make sure it was even. I marked an area on the back of these same fingers that would pivot, chose a router bit and carved out an area so that it would be a bit thinner to hang clothes or hats to. Using a much thinner router bit, I carved out the abstract design that I had on the wood, being very careful to stay within the lines and try to make them as continuous as possible. I wanted these new channels to be white in the background so that the actual wood wouldn't show underneath the resin. So I masked the surface of the wood and spray painted them using a white primer. I also used a heat gun to make the paint dry faster. I used duct tape to close in the channels on the wood so that when poured, resin wouldn't spill over the sides. Duct tape is not the best material to do this, it sticks really well to the wood, however it's all I had on hand and it worked just fine. With that out of the way, I mixed a small batch of resin, put in a few drops of blue ink and mixed it thoroughly to make sure that the mixture was consistent and that it would dry properly. I wanted to plane down the surface to make it flat, however I would soon discover this would be a mistake. So the piece broke. It broke under the planer. It was I was a bit too rough with it, and basically it broke along there, across the veins really, which is a bit of a weird break, but it happened anyway. I dug out too much of the surface. I wasn't aware it was digging so much. I am not used to using a planer, so anyway, good news is that I have got a bit of extra material left, which I can use. So yeah, I got a bit more of the shelf, so I can cut up another piece, drill it, hopefully be back on track. So I ended up making a new piece. With everything back on track, I headed to the belt sander to flatten out the surfaces. I selected a keyhole router bit. This would allow me to hang the piece to the wall. Using 5-minute epoxy, I fixed the threaded rod to the side pieces of the piano hanger. I chose yet another router bit, this time a round over bit, and rounded over all the edges of the piano hanger. After sanding the piano hanger surfaces and edges using 180 and 220 grit sandpaper, it was time to finish using some tung oil. So here's the finished piece. I don't know what else to say about it really. It was a pretty simple project and pretty straightforward. I think one of the most important parts about it was that I used something that was going to be thrown away. So I sort of upcycled something. I was using the shelves that my girlfriend was going to throw away and made it into something a bit useful. Does it look ugly? Yes, it does. But my girlfriend likes it, so yeah, if she's happy, well, I think it was worth it. Naturally, this is not the final resting place of this piece. It's eventually going to hang on my girlfriend's bedroom wall. But at the moment we just can't get it there and hang it there at the moment. But once I do, I will upload a video or a photo to my Instagram page, Twitter or Facebook page. Links as always in the description below. And you can also follow me on my website, borchd.net, where I just write more in detail information on in-detail processes of these projects that I do in my workshop. Well, this is a very simple build and I encourage you to try something like this. Even without the resin inlay itself, a piano hanger is a very interesting thing to make. That said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot, and as always, just as I have been inspired by other makers out there to come in my shop and make something, I hope that you too can make something, because everyone is a maker.